All right. So, hello everyone. There's Charlie. There we go. Excellent. Okay. Well, hi to all those that are joining us for this session, for Charlie's session. I'll introduce Charlie in just a second. But for those that don't know me, I'm Louise. I'm Chief Operating Officer for EventWell, and myself and Helen, my colleague, who's our CEO, we've been the ones kind of putting this whole 2-day event together, and so we're really grateful that we've got some amazing speakers on board, giving us some really insightful sessions. And thank you to all the attendees that have been with us and joining us today. I hope you're going to get some very useful information, insightful information from the sessions. Just a little bit of housekeeping. I think you should all be on mute, but just in the next box to the right, you should see 3 different titles. You've got chat, participants, and Q&A. Chat is if you just want to put a general comment in there. Participants is you can see who's attending this session, and if you want to click on anybody in particular, and you can send a direct private message. And then Q&A at the end, although we're not actually going to have a Q&A in this session. Charlie's going to speak, and then we're going to end the session at 1:30. So, but obviously, if anybody does have any questions, then feel free to put them in, and then I can whiz them across to Charlie, perhaps in an email, and I'll whiz that information on if that's okay with you, Charlie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Lovely. All right. Well, I will stop speaking and I'm going to introduce Charlie. So thank you, Charlie, for agreeing to be one of our speakers today. I know you've got quite a lot of history within the events industry, and you're going to take us through your story. So without further ado, I'll let you take away.
Thank you so much. So I'll just turn on screen sharing now. Lou, it doesn't seem to be coming on.
Okay, let me. All right. Okay, so apologies, everyone. We just got a couple of. Okay. So you can probably can you see that?
I can. It's like the Remo.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
We go into this. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm going to click on that. Can you see that?
Yeah, that's great.
Great. Okay. So I wonder if I can enlarge this somehow.
Yeah, maybe if it's downloaded, you can pop it on full screen.
Yes. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Lovely. All right. Off you go.
Amazing. So, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today at EventWell's first virtual summit. So, my name's Charlie, and I am the founder and managing director of EventWell. So what I'd like to share with you today is my journey with mental health and how I've got to where I am today. So just because I'm not controlling the presentation, I'm going to have to tell Lou when to move on. So apologies for that. Lou, can we move to the next slide, please?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Go.
Amazing. So just to begin with, I thought this was a really relevant quote by Michelle Obama. So whether an illness affects your heart, your leg, or your brain, it's still an illness and there should be no distinction. And this is absolutely true. And I think it's a great point to start my talk today. So if we can just move on to the next slide. So to begin with, everyone has mental health, whether that is good health or bad mental health. Some people struggle with it more than others. And I think it's really important to have a look at the facts. So just to set the scene on mental health in the UK, I took some facts from Mind's website, and it's really shocking that this is the situation that we're living with. So the one which stood out to me in particular was the last one of only 1 in 8 adults with a mental health problem are currently getting any kind of treatment. Now, why is that? So perhaps people feel ashamed or they don't want to be seen as being weak, which I know for myself a number of years ago, that was how I felt. And what I'd like to do today, and the aim of my session, is to share my story of how I've gone from where I was to where I am today, and hopefully inspire other people to do the same and stand up and talk about their problems as well. So actually, I've found that the more that I speak about my story and my journey, more people, whether that be my friends or colleagues or just connections within the industry, more people have stepped up and said, you know, I've been feeling a little bit low as well, or I know someone who's said they've had those sort of feelings. And it's the more we speak up, the more we realize that actually more people are experiencing similar types of feelings to ourselves. So speaking about how you're feeling is the beginning, and it's when you accept that you're feeling that way that you can then get help. So when I say help, I don't necessarily mean medical help, because that actually is quite a scary prospect. And I know to myself, it certainly was. And by help, this could simply mean reaching out to people who are a great support network for you, surrounding yourself with these positive people, implementing self-help strategies. And that's something which I'll talk to you a little bit more about. So before I do that, we'll rewind a little bit, and I want to tell you a little bit about my past to set the scene and give you a bit more of an insight into me and where I've come from. So as far back as I can remember, I've always been a worrier. I worry about everything and still do to this day, but I've actually implemented my own strategies to cope with that. So around 7 years ago, I noticed that I was feeling a lot more anxious than usual. And to the outside world, that wasn't the case. And it's very important to know that people who are suffering with mental health are very good at hiding it. So if you've got a friend who always seems to be doing great or always seems on top of the world, doing well in life, just ask them how they're doing, or ask them if they want to go for a coffee. It's just giving them that opportunity to open up and letting them know that you're there for them, which I know when people did that for me, it was a really, really heartwarming feeling. So I was actually trying to combat my negative feelings by attempting to run. Now, this image here is a more recent one, and actually I wanted to share it because I feel it shows how far I've come. But at the beginning, I'd only get a short distance and I'd fall to the floor and begin crying, and I couldn't understand what was wrong with me. And my other half, who's my now husband, I thought I was going to lose him, and my thoughts just spiraled, and it was really, really worrying. So I went to see my doctor, who offered me medication, but immediately I said, absolutely not. It's an easy way out. I don't have a mental health issue. And I really just pushed it aside. And I thought it made me seem weak. So I didn't want anything to do with medication. So I asked for an alternative solution, and this was CBT. So that's a talking therapy. And I think it was a really good starting point for me. It was sort of exploring old experiences and seeing how they could have had an impact on where I'm at today. I actually left each session feeling really upset, although it had opened up a new understanding of, you know, potentially what's making me anxious. But I still was getting, even after months of therapy, I was still getting those negative feelings. And feelings such as, why did my other half want to be with me? I wasn't going to, how was I ever going to complete university? If I can't complete university, I'm not going to get a job. And it was just, these spiraling thoughts were going out of control. So obviously I felt worse than I should have done about myself. So every day that went by, I continued attending the therapy. And actually I started really struggling to do everyday tasks, even getting out of bed, cleaning the house, socializing. And I knew something wasn't right. I remember very clearly lying on the floor in my bedroom one morning, and I was like hitting my fists on the floor, and I was saying, I really cannot do this anymore. And it was at that point that I decided to ring the doctor and ask for the tablets. Now, I was really embarrassed. I didn't tell anyone except my closest family. I did experience really negative side effects, but I stuck with it. And the best way for me to describe it is, it was almost like I was looking out of a peephole before I started taking them, and I couldn't see beyond that hole. So everything seemed really black and dark. And then after, it was a number of weeks, and it was almost like that, it started opening up, and the light was coming in. I started regaining my focus, and I just started feeling a lot more positive about things. And one thing which I've put on here is, I had lost my mojo, I'd lost my sense of purpose, and I'd lost my way on my journey, and it made me feel so sad. I used to love socializing. I used to love meeting other people and going to parties or whatever. And I just lost all of that. I had no interest. So that's what the medication did for me. So one thing I'll always remember, similar to Michelle Obama's quote that I shared at the beginning, was, if you had a headache or a broken leg, you would take paracetamol to help with the pain. Now, what's different when you've got mental pain and taking antidepressants? That was something that my now husband said to me, and it's really stuck with me and helped me to accept it's completely okay to take those tablets. But I think there's such a stigma attached to it, and that's what stopped me from going on to them. And I do still take them to this day. And, they're not right for everyone. But if you are in a place where you can't see a way out, or you're struggling to get the motivation, then they can give you that lift, or even just going to your doctor to have a chat about what options you've got available to you. And aside from those, going on to them also enabled me to do more running and also do more reading as well. Can we go to the next slide, please, Lou? Thank you. So once I gained some more mental strength, started focusing on my studies, and I graduated with a 2-1 in Spanish and tourism, which I never thought I could have achieved previous to this. And although that felt really positive, I will say that those anxious feelings, they don't just disappear, and I do still cope with them on a day-to-day basis. One thing which it was actually my mum suggested to me was to do something creative. So I started collecting driftwood off the beach, and I made driftwood signs with either positive quotes or for homeware. And I started getting really positive feedback from friends, family friends, and all sorts. And I started selling them at craft markets, and it was just a really heartwarming feeling that gave me that lift that really helped me at that time. Then also in 2015, we visited Bali, and I fell in love with the well-being and the caring nature of the island and its people. I felt it gave me that understanding that here in England and many places in the world, our lives are very stressful. But these people here, they appreciate all the small things, their family, their friends, beauty of nature. And it sparked something inside me to take a step back and start reading self-help books, turning to yoga, turning to running more, and also positive quotes as a source of happiness. So in 2016, we bought our first home. We got our beagle Toby, who you can see on the picture there as well. We got engaged, and I also ran 100 kilometers for Alzheimer's Research UK, because my granddad was suffering with Alzheimer's, and raising money for that cause was my way of dealing with it. And like I said, running is a coping strategy for me when dealing with stress and anxiety. So then in 2017, I joined a running club, and they have supported me throughout, and I'm now training for my first marathon. Again, throughout this time, it's really helping me to have something to focus on. So I guess what I really want to say here is, like I've put at the bottom, life is a series of mountains. You will encounter steep and challenging moments, but you and we have the strength to climb and conquer them. So surround yourself with people who care about you, build your network up, when you need it, there's support there for you. Because every time something happens in your life, any challenges or any hurdles, each time they happen, you grow in strength, you grow, your resilience improves, and that means that next time something happens, you will react better and you will be better equipped to deal with it. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Thank you. So this leads me to talk about my career. So I like to think of myself as being a hard worker, and I'll always put everything I have got into every single role that I take on. So up until around 2016, I felt that my anxiety often took over in the workplace, and I often ended up in tears over what may have seemed like small things to other people. But deep down, I knew I was capable, and I really wanted to prove that to myself and also to others. So one thing that I recall very clearly is people in my past have said to me, do you think you'll really be able to do that role? Or do you think I'd better give that task to somebody else? And I did take it personally, and that's the kind of person that I am. But I held my head high because I know that I can do these things. I've been through challenging mental times, and I knew that I was getting stronger, and I also knew that I was capable. So in 2016, I joined a print company, and I was working on a large retail account across events and experiential. And I suppose this was my first introduction into the events world, but it was more on a point of sale side of things, rather than sort of the hands-on creative, getting involved in the ideas stages. So in 2018, I knew it was time to move on. I'd gained some great experience, and I moved to a staffing and event planning agency where, although it sounds very cheesy, I felt like I really thrived. One thing I'll remember, and it really scared me at the time, was the managing director said to me, "You've got big boots to fill." And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, what have I let myself in for here? But recently I received a LinkedIn recommendation, and she said that again. She said, you had big boots to fill, but you did it, and you did more. So having that person who believed in me and gave me that opportunity, it's really helped me to grow in confidence and also my skill set and ability. So within a year, I was promoted to account director. I was working closely with clients all over the UK. It was a really small agency. I had a big focus on employee satisfaction and looking after their people. So having that sort of that atmosphere, it gave me confidence. It made me feel valued. I felt like it was really where I belonged, and I really felt like I could achieve anything. So I became part of this event community, and it really gave me this passion and drive for life that I felt like I'd really been missing. So even from being a young girl, I actually remember planning and putting on shows for my family, as well as also at times like Christmas, where I dress the table and wrap sort of table presents in a really beautiful manner, and taking care of attention to detail. So when I look back, I can see that this is actually the industry that I was destined to end up in. I felt completely fulfilled, felt challenged. I really felt very lucky to be in my dream job. Then COVID hit, and like for many, things changed, and I was let go along with the rest of the team. So I was determined this was not going to be the thing which set me back. This was going to be the thing which helped me to get an opportunity and move forwards. So I sat down and I worked on my vision and my goals. And I thought, what do I want to achieve? What makes me happy? What motivates me? Well, my answers to those questions are Bali, travel, self-help books, personal development, events, and also the people within this industry. Wrap these things all together, and here we have Adventure, born amidst this absolutely bizarre world that we're living in right now. But actually, it's given me the time to work on building relationships, getting the agency ready. And actually now I feel like we're in a great place, ready for when things do bounce back, because I'm confident that they will. So Adventure. So we're a promotional staffing and event planning agency, and we're based in Leeds. So we also work nationally, so all over the UK. Now, for me, when setting up, it was really important to have strong branding. So I developed the company around my passion for adventures and travel. And I believe that there's a strong correlation between adventurers and promotional people. So people that you may know as brand ambassadors or event managers, we call them adventurers because they are always prepared. They have a versatile approach, a great team spirit, and they pay careful attention to the details, just like adventurers do. So our aim is to create memorable and meaningful connections with our clients and help them escape the norm through taking their brand on journeys to new and exciting destinations. Having this branding has actually really been so well received by clients, both old and new prospective clients, because it's new, it's exciting, and it's really relatable as well. So a big part of what we do is caring for our people and making sure we treat them fair and well. Now, I think this has come from my personal interest in employee satisfaction and making sure things are done properly. So all our calls are done face to face. We do them on video call, or we will, when possible, do them maybe over a coffee because we want to get to know them. We don't necessarily ask that they have experience with top brands or they've been in the industry for many years. It's more about having the drive and the passion to succeed, because everyone has had to be given an opportunity. I was given an opportunity, and because I had that motivation to succeed, I've been able to get to where I am today. Now, those top event managers, they've not been able to get there overnight. Someone's given them that opportunity. So that's what I want to do. I want to give people the chance to succeed and get to where they want to in their career. So a big part of the calls is also finding out what they enjoy doing on a personal level. So it's not just about what they've done professionally, things such as where they've visited in the world, what's their favorite place. That's how I really relate to people and build those relationships with them as people, and not just as another number on my books or not as a freelancer. They are a part of my team and they are representing me and Eventure. So being able to use my personal experience, which has actually been quite a negative experience over the years, of dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression, I now use that as a benefit, if you will, to inspire other people. And also it's enabled me to develop this empathetic approach to working with other people and ensuring fairness and equality in everything that I do. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. So when I look back now and see how far I've come from the girl on the bedroom floor hitting her fist, which upsets me quite a lot to think about, now I'm running my own business, and I've intertwined everything that I believe in and that I value, and I have to pinch myself to realize that this is real, and I feel really proud of myself. I'm not ashamed to share that or say it. I've fought against mental health. I've learned to live with it, and I've also built a range of strategies that I use on a daily basis, and I'd like to share those with you now. So first off is gratitude. So every morning when I sit at my desk, I write down 5 things which I am grateful for. So this could be as simple as the sun's shining, or I'm having dinner with my friend tomorrow evening. Anything that allows you to pull your mind away from the negative things and focus on those things which are positive in your life, because it's really easy to remember the negatives rather than the positives. Support network. So this is very key. Communication is absolutely crucial when you're feeling down, or just in general. It's important to build up those relationships to support you and help you through every time that you might experience. Running. So like I've said, running is a crucial part of my day-to-day coping strategy. It helps me cope with anxiety and stress. It's about reconnecting with the outdoors, and also it brings me back down to earth no matter how I'm feeling. Reading. So I actually go to bed a short time earlier than I'm going to sleep, just to give myself some downtime, time away from my screen before I go to sleep. And it helps me to switch off. So that could be a magazine, it could be a book, it doesn't matter. Just anything that's time for you and time to take time for yourself. Organization. So anyone who knows me will know that I am a big fan of organization. So actually right now more than ever, this is crucial because I'm managing every role within this company and I need to make sure that I get everything done in each day. So I split my time into 30-minute slots and I write down tasks into each of those slots, and it gives me a great feeling of fulfillment when I've completed it. So I'd highly recommend it, and if you want any tips on it, I'd be more than happy to have a chat with you and share some of those as well. Can we move down, please? So then, just on the topic of reading, I'm conscious of the time, so I won't spend too much time on this, but these are 5 books which I've read over the years, and I really think that you can get something from them as well. So don't sweat the small stuff. This was gifted to me when I was at a really low point. It's written in very small, manageable chunks, so you can read just a small chapter, which is only a couple of pages. And it's all about finding simple ways to not let things overtake your life, basically. And I'd really recommend it if you're just looking for that bit of uplifting advice. It's really great and really relatable. The Discomfort Zone. So this one is about embracing the moments of discomfort. So previously, I'd always say no to opportunities, and it actually has taught me that you must say yes without thinking and then figure out how you do it later. And that's something I've definitely done a lot recently. Jog On. This is a combination of 2 passions of mine, so mental health and running. Now, this lady could only run for 3 minutes at the beginning, and she did it in a back alley away from other people. And now she explains how it actually saved her life, which is incredible and really inspiring. Good Vibes, Good Life. So I'm not going to talk about this one because I know it's on EventWell's book club of July, but it's really inspiring, really relatable, and really easy to understand. Then finally, Lean In. So this was by Sheryl Sandberg. It's a great book by a female leader. And one quote which I particularly love is, if you're offered a seat on a rocket ship, do not ask which seat, just get on. And that's something we shared on Adventures Instagram earlier this week, and something which is just so true. Just embrace those opportunities and grab them with both hands. Figure out what you're doing later. That is so, so important. So I'm conscious that we're very close to the half an hour point. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the summit. There's so much great content out there. And if you do want to connect with me, my email's on the screen now. And also my links to social are on the EventWell's website. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charli. Amazing. I've just been completely into that, everything that you've just said, and I feel like you're my soul sister.
I love it.
I was going to say it there because, and I don't know about for anybody else, but your story is actually very, very similar to mine in certain parts. So we'll have to talk off this. But yeah, just everything that you've just said is just, I can totally resonated with, and I thank you for sharing that story, because I've definitely had the same sorts of thoughts that you have, and there's certain stigmas around mental health and antidepressants and everything else like that. So totally resonated with that. So thank you, Charli. As I said, we're not going to do any sort of Q&A session with Charli, but obviously you've got Charli's email address that she just shared with you. And obviously, if you do have any questions, obviously, by all means, get in touch with her directly. Or if you want to use me as a bit of a in-between, then by all means, email myself or type a question into the box here. But otherwise, yeah, thanks so much, Charli. And thanks to everyone for attending today's session. We'll see you soon.